Happy Friday, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We're going to start in a few. Starting in a few minutes over here, guys. Thank you so much. I think I saw the senator in and out. Give it a few more seconds. Thanks for joining, everybody. Happy Friday. We're going to start in a few moments over here. Thanks for joining us. Happy Friday, everybody. We're going to start in a few moments. Thanks for joining. Grab your seat, grab your virtual seat on your couch at home. See more and more people joining. This is great. Thank you. Very excited to have Senator Lena Gonzalez, Senate 33rd District, on our meeting today. In a few moments. Trevor, any word on your end?
She is having some trouble logging on, but we're trying to get her back on there. So hopefully momentarily we'll get it figured out. Sorry.
Perfect. Thank you. Not a problem. We're here. We're ready. Thank you so much, guys, for joining. Whoever's on the broadcast. In a few moments. Thank you, guys, for taking the time on this busy Friday. There's some hearts out there for Rich Pizzani. Thanks for joining, everybody. Starting in a few moments over here. Thanks for your patience. Glad to have Senator District 33, Lena Gonzalez, our guest today. Thank you, Holly Wright, for setting this up. Okay, we got you, Senator. Hold on.
Sorry for the technical difficulty.
That's okay. That's okay. There we go. I'm gonna make the music go away. Good to have you. Looking good. We see you there, loud and clear. Can you hear us fine? What? Hold on. Can you unmute yourself? I want you to unmute yourself on the top of the screen.
Yes. Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Perfect. Thank you so much. We got this. Thank you so much, Senator, for making the time and overcoming tech challenges, right? During those Zoom times, as we call them. So very excited to have you. it's a real pleasure and real honor to have you on our meeting today. And just whoever is watching, most of you know Senator. Just to quickly, just to share, Senator Lena Gonzalez was elected to the state senate to represent the 33rd district in June of last year, 2019. Growing up in a working class family where her father was a truck driver and her mother worked in an aerospace the aerospace field, Senator Gonzalez learned the value of hard work and dedication. And Senator, prior to you being elected to the Senate, you served about 5 years in the Long Beach City Council as well, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I bet that you have a great story to share, and we'd love to hear more about that. But open up with whatever you want to share with us. You have a lot of updates and news to share with us. And just on a side note, you're doing an incredible job, and I want to thank Holly, who's also on the call with us. She is the CEO of our Long Beach office for making, setting up this introduction. So thank you again.
Thank you both so much, and thank you, Holly, for the invitation, and thank you, Manny, for the wonderful welcome and introduction. Sorry for the tech. As much as I'm a tech person, I used to work for Microsoft. I am like all over the place with the platforms and just getting adjusted to this whole distance learning and workplace environment, even given my background. But yes, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for having me. Yes, I've been elected now. It's actually 1 year today is my 1 year anniversary in the Senate, which is exciting. I didn't realize that until this morning. But yes, before that, I worked on the Long Beach City Council, and then parallel to that, worked as a business representative and also in social corporate responsibility for Microsoft for about 5 years. But now in the Senate, it's been wonderful, although we have this pandemic and a lot going on here, not only in the state of California, but in Los Angeles County. And so many of the senators, we've actually condensed a lot of our bill packages. So I had 10 bills in January. Now we've reduced it down to about 3 bills. I have Trevor on the line as well, who's our legislative director. And so we've been working around the clock on this pandemic, obviously in our district, mostly as we were on recess for a few months as the Senate. We just convened back in early May. And now we've been on a condensed schedule of a few weeks, which is work we should have been doing in a few months, just to get the budget passed, which we have to do constitutionally by June 15th, which is this Monday. And we're going to be hearing a lot more later today, I'm sure, about what the budget may or may not look like, as we are obviously dealing with a $54 billion deficit. Earlier this year, we had a $22 billion reserve. Now we're in a deficit. And of course, we want to ensure that a few things are intact. Of course, education, our healthcare system, and also ensuring that when people get back to work, that they do have adequate child care opportunities, because we know that that is a large priority. It was not only just for the governor, but for the Senate as well, to ensure when people got back, they had opportunities to take their kids back to school and also back to their daycare setting. But in addition to that, we're also pushing, of course, a lot of bills. As I mentioned, I have about 3 bills right now, and I can talk a little bit about that and what those look like, and happy to answer any questions. But the very first bill that I have is SB 1130, and it's a broadband for all bill. We knew that the digital divide was still a priority even before COVID hit. And so now that COVID hit with all the distance learning online, we just realized obviously it's an even bigger priority here in the state of California. So we have a pot of money called the California Services Fund, which is a ratepayer fund. You pay about a few dollars on your cell phone bill. We have $300 million in this fund. And what we're doing is we're taking a look with this bill at areas that are underserved or completely unserved, like many places in Los Angeles, and then of course our rural communities that need these funds in order to get infrastructure and also to get online. But not only just lower speeds, we want them to get online with high speeds, because we know children, businesses now, there's 5 of us in a household, 5 of us in a business, and we're all on Zoom. We need higher speeds to get back up and running with our economy. And then secondly is SB 1255. It's an Equal Insurance HIV Act, basically ensuring that people who are diagnosed with HIV aren't discriminated against for life and disability income. which is important. It's just changing the statute in California law. And then lastly, we have SB 939, which may be of interest to each and every one of you, which is addressing commercial evictions. And so it's going through various amendments at this time to really narrow the scope to ensure that we are targeting the small businesses that were directed by the governor to go offline first, which are small restaurants, retail, and bars and that sort of industry, and very small employee thresholds. So we're working through that right now. Both Senator Wiener from San Francisco and I are working on that bill. And then ongoing, the LA County delegation, I just got off a call with them earlier today. We're looking at opportunities for renter-landlord solutions. We obviously know the budget is kind of, moving forward at a very fast pace, but we do need additional solutions, both on short-term and long-term plans. And so we're kind of working through a lot of what the Senate and Assembly have done so far, one of which is kind of re-reviewing the $25 billion economic recovery fund that the Senate has put forward as a proposal. It basically allows tax credits starting at in 2024 for landlords who did not receive any rental income from now until 2024. So still a lot of work to be done. If any of you have additional ideas on how we can make that better, we're certainly all ears. And then lastly, I have been on a couple working groups that have been vital to the crisis of housing, but also just what we're dealing with now. So the first one was a Senate working group on housing. There were about 7 of us. We finally are finalizing our Senate package, I think today, so you'll start to see it next week, but basically looking at affordable housing production and how we can incentivize developers and how we can push production for affordable and low and moderate incomes, especially places like here in LA County where we know we need it the most. And so you'll start to see about 4 or 5 bills in the Senate next week. The last big committee that I'm on is the Senate Special Committee on Emergency Pandemic Response. And that is a committee, we've had 2 meetings so far, one on testing. So if we're going to get our economy back up and running, we needed to get testing up and running as well. We finally have, and we got a lot of questions answered during that committee, both on the nose swab testing. We're now at 60,000 tests a day here in California, which is what we needed. And then also on antibody testing, how we can be a little bit better in understanding when people have had COVID and how we can contact trace even after that. This past week, we went over skilled nursing facilities, as we know that that's a hot spot within the whole COVID-19 discussion. So we'll continue to talk about more, but happy to hear any questions or additional thoughts and ideas.
Thank you, and it's a lot. I mean,
yes,
that you guys are doing. And as questions comes in, what I want to ask you is, how fast did you? Because I guess you're working from home, like all of your staff.
As you can see, yes.
Yeah, that's the new look of everybody.
Right.
How fast did you and your team adjust to the new reality? And some of the businesses, like us, for example, we did reopen our offices, real estate, throughout Southern California. But when do you think your operation, the Senate level, etc., state level will be open to business as normal or as usual, whatever you want to define it as?
Right, that's a great question. I mean, we were off for a few months, and so in those few months, democracy for us looked really different. We had about 5 teletown halls, which we're still hosting, one for small businesses. We had one in various parts of the district just to outreach to our residents and business owners to let them know that we were still open for business, if you will, and ready and willing to serve them, even though we weren't physically in the office. And so it was a bit of an adjustment. Now we have about 2 people in our Capitol office every day each week. And of course, we're always answering questions. We're answering social media requests and all of that. So we're still very accessible. It just looks different. And so it's been quite a bit of an adjustment. But we're also out at food banks. We've been helping, with diaper drives and just ensuring that we're being as accessible and approachable as possible, even during this time.
Yeah, what do you, and once again, you guys do an amazing job, and we're proud to be, my Long Beach office is right there in your district, so we're just proud to be part of that, just culture overall. I'm going to ask
Yeah.
you later on, yeah, I'm going to ask you later on, like, what can we do to assist as a, community and residents of Long Beach and those other areas in your district. What do you think? And that's, you have such a big responsibility, right? And there's a lot of unknowns parts of the economy and how, right now the recovery of the retail, unemployment, a lot of bills that you are working, very passionately working on. What do you think will, I'm not asking to predict the future, of course, but what do you think, how the pieces will line up with between those particles of the unemployment, struggle with the real estate part, etc.?
Yeah, I mean, we're really trying to figure this out. Right now, it's very hard to tell because as a state, I can speak as a state, we are realizing partial revenues at this time because obviously many people had asked for property tax revenue waivers. We're not realizing everything at this moment. And so I think in addition to this budget that will pass, we're also going to look at another kind of revision of the budget in August, which is unusual for us as a state, to see how much we're actually realizing both locally and on the state level. So it'll be very telling. I think many economists have talked to us both at Cal State Long Beach, have talked to economists at LMU and various others that say that we might be in this for another couple years. Obviously, the recession was induced by this pandemic, so it's, again, very unusual and atypical. But I think we are going to ask a lot of our federal government. Again, unprecedented times call for unprecedented measures. And so our federal government has been great so far. Our members of Congress, especially in Los Angeles County, have been helping us as it pertains to ensuring that we're getting additional support for like pandemic unemployment assistance for independent contractors and for small business owners, which we need. We may be getting another allotment, and also supporting our local cities, because if our local cities are not supported during this time, like Long Beach, who has its own health department, who has its own police and fire department, then we are going to be in a very dire situation. So there are a few bills that are looking at sort of extending like utility users taxes in some cases to be able to supplement some revenue streams for local governments, because we don't want them to go bankrupt, especially if they had financial issues before, which will only help all of our small businesses and residents in the end.
Yeah, and well said. How many cities, by the way, in your district?
We have 12 cities. So I run from Long Beach all the way to South Los Angeles. So I have City of LA, I have Mayor Garcetti there, and I've got all of the Southeast cities. So yes, perfect. Like Huntington Park, Linwood, Maywood, Bell Gardens, and then of course the bulk of my district is the city of Long Beach, my hometown.
Right.
1 million people.
Say again?
I said 1 million people in this district.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And Senator Lena, what is your story? You're a senator in the Senate. This is not something that happened to every person. And I kind of like in a nutshell the radio bio, which doesn't really make justice to your real journey. Do you mind sharing just a little bit more about Senator Lena Gonzalez?
Sure, absolutely, and thank you for that question. As you mentioned in my bio, I mean, I grew up in a very working class, kind of humble community, obviously Long Beach, and my parents, again, my dad was a truck driver, just retired a few years ago. My mom immigrated here, but interestingly enough, my mom actually has always worked for corporate America. She ended up working her way up from like Northrop Grumman. She worked for Kyocera. I mean, she's always worked her way up the corporate ladder. So I had these two different parents. One came from a labor background and another came from private corporation. And they just both, with a high school degree, kind of taught me this like drive for hard work. And so I had a child very young. I had a child at the age of 19. And so had to learn and grow up really fast. So I ended up going to Cal State Long Beach, got my degree in political science. And then just 3 years ago, received my MBA, my master's in business at Loyola Marymount University. Was on the city council, also working for Microsoft at the time, and then decided, if no one's going to run for Senate, I think I'm the best opportunity. I have the best opportunity here to do that. I come from Long Beach. I care so much about the community. I've got a great background in both public and private sector, and I definitely want to continue driving more opportunities for small businesses and residents in my district, which I know is deeply impacted by many social ills like homelessness and housing and so many other things. So that's why I'm here.
That's a great story. And did you, when you worked for the city of Long Beach, did you have plans to go that big, in its Senate level?
No, I didn't even ever expect myself to be a city council member, but I had been working for he had been Vice Mayor Robert Garcia at the time. So I had worked with him for about 5.5 years in the city. Then I became elected, succeeded him. So I had about a decade in the city of Long Beach. And when the opportunity came up to run for the Senate, I don't think I initially wanted to do that because I had a pretty nice job at Microsoft and I was doing well, but I said, if I don't do it, who else is going to? And we definitely need more women in office, especially moms. I have 3 boys that I share with my husband, Adam. And so, legislating in that lens, I think is always really important to have more women of color, and also moms in the state legislature making policies at this level, I think is vital.
Thank you. And very, very powerful statements, by the way, that you just mentioned. So thank you for that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. First of all, I'm just so excited. I'm fangirling here out, Lena, just because I followed you for a while, and your policies that you've done here within the city before you became in the Senate are so well known, and your reputation is something that's to be had here in the area. So my question to you is, obviously we're involved with the social media age, right? But what is the best way for all of us to kind of stay informed on the progress of these bills that are happening, any legislature that you might be putting into play? How can we stay connected?
Yeah, thank you for that. And especially now that, you can't easily come to my office, although when we're back up and running, please, by all means, visit our office and make sure that, we get to see you in person. But social media is always great. Of course, I actually do a lot of my social media. I'm on Twitter, as well as Facebook and Instagram, just to have multiple access points for my constituents and just people that want to know what's going on. But I would also say, send us your information and email. You can always reach me at senator.gonzalez@senate.ca.gov. And the reason I say that is once you email us, we can put you into our newsletter system. We send a newsletter out every 2 weeks on various things. So of course, the issues that I'm pushing. We also do surveys to ensure we're gaining feedback on specific policies, or like, for instance, the issues that arose, and the unrest that we're feeling with the peaceful protests, but also with small businesses that had been hurt during this time. We wanted to hear from folks. So if you do that, we'll certainly send out newsletters and information, and I'll also ask for your perspective on various issues, like the budget.
That's great. Again, your career has just flourished in the area. So my question to you is, if we have any viewers watching right now who are interested in getting involved in their government, either in a local or a larger scale, in your case, do you have any advice for them of really how to make that transition?
Oh, yes. I think a really good opportunity, and what I love about the city of Long Beach, and even if you're not from Long Beach, I think just thinking about it in your city, whether that's through the county as well, or city of LA, all over us regionally, we have wonderful elected leaders at the local level. And what they do best is they really try to empower folks to get involved with city commissions. And so I think that's another really powerful way to get involved, is these city commissions, whether it's a planning commission or whether it's a commission on economic development. We have task force at the LA County level with economic development, and we need to hear from various industries. Sometimes, some folks will get recycled in the system, and we don't want that. We want to ensure that you are someone kind of, with a new approach, a different outlook, and we really need that right now in local sort of city commissions and committees to be able to make good and better decisions moving forward. So that's, one really great way to get involved.
Great question. Yeah. We had a few rough weeks between, stay-at-home COVID, which is some people still at stay-at-home mode, and somewhat of reopening of the economy, which is also like a very interesting evolution of. And Long Beach and other areas, of course, were impacted by those riots, or some were peaceful demonstrations, and some were a bit more, I guess, aggressive or different impact. And I also know that some of our agents went out to the city after to clean and help and whatever they could do. Is there any message that you want to share with whoever is watching right now?
Yeah, I know it's a really, really tough time for everyone. We're all, I think, no one is immune from trying to reconcile what just happened, and what is continuing to happen. And we, whether you believe in anything in particular or not, we all can agree that there are some severe injustices that are happening to certain demographics in our society, like Black Americans, and we need to address that. And so I know sometimes it's hard to reconcile through that, because what some messages may say may feel like an anti this or an anti that, but really it's not. I have personally very good relationships with our police department, but there's also opportunities for us to grow, and there's absolutely opportunities for us to make bold decisions so we don't have issues like George Floyd happening anymore. And we also need to engage that, people are peacefully protesting. Many are. The ones that are not and that are causing trouble have been dealt with and are continuing to be dealt with. There's a lot of, social media does wonders, and lots of people have Nest cameras and all that. I was one of those folks like you all were out there helping my community in Long Beach, especially in downtown and North Long Beach, that next Monday to ensure that we were boarding up businesses and making sure that they were safe. So if you have any ideas or questions, let us know, but we're engaging many stakeholders here, including our police chief, Robert Luna, our Police Officers Association, various advocates on the Black Lives Matter movement. We just all need to gain a little bit more insight. So, but we'd love to hear if there's any ideas where you'd like to make a statement or, make some idea known.
Well said. Thank you for that. On the same note, so what can we do as a community? Most of the people right now that are watching are realtor professionals, various areas, companies, etc. But what can we do? And just to mention, realtors during the pandemic, they've kept on serving their clients out there. And they're out there doing their thing in the field, even though business was, slowed down just a little bit. I kept on doing, once again, the service in the community. What can we do to support you, your team, the local communities?
Well, I think this public forum like this is already a fantastic start, because we need to continue having these, especially with people in elected office and other community stakeholders that can bring light to situations like this. But I also think too, many small businesses, and this is outside of what we've seen in the last few events that have occurred just during the pandemic, we know that some small businesses may need to pivot and readjust. And so unfortunately, they may not be able to come back, or they're trying to figure out ways in which they can sustain themselves. They may have not gotten the Paycheck Protection Program or SBA loans. So if there's any avenue that you all could be helpful in providing maybe insight on, as business owners yourselves and entrepreneurs, and how you're obtaining those resources and services, or maybe there's a forum you can do on how to apply for these resources, or what you're doing specifically to become successful, because I think a lot of small businesses are really grappling with that right now. And we're putting policies out, but that sometimes is just a band-aid to what really the full discussion might need to be in terms of hearing it from a peer and colleague. So if that made sense, I hope it does. We need all the support we can get for small businesses at this time.
Yeah, well said. And I appreciate you for reaching out as well and asking, hey, we need your help too. And if you have ideas or what have you, because definitely realtors are true entrepreneurs. We joke that every day a realtor wakes up and then he's unemployed, right? They have to work for their dollar every day. So we're definitely going to touch base later on, and I mean afterwards, and share what we've learned. There's a lot of ways to get the PPP support and to be smart about how to spend it, and also changing the rules every few days, as it seems. They have to be aware of that too. Yeah,
that's absolutely right. And I also think you all know just on a very localized front, you all know the locations that might need the vacancy rates, and so there might be small businesses that may need to move, or they may need to pivot and adjust to other areas of the city, given the damages that they've seen, or given their certain circumstances right now. So that might be another kind of low-hanging fruit opportunity for you to all help with.
Yeah, thank you for that. We actually already have some commercial teams, mostly in the retail section, that trying to figure out solutions for those that are, even though, because some businesses, it seems like they did get some of that financial assistance, but there's not enough cushion to right now carry through this once again this gray area of the recovery. And how can they sustain for another X amount of months?
Right. Yeah, it's a tough time now for everybody, but absolutely, that would be great, and we can continue collaborating with you as well on many of those items.
Yeah, thank you for your support. Anything else that you wish to share with us, or anything else in mind?
I just want to thank you again for this opportunity to speak to every one of you. Again, my office is completely open and available to you, so if there's any questions, especially as it relates to any state agency, we've received a lot of requests for unemployment benefits, especially for small businesses and entrepreneurs. And so if you need assistance with that, we're happy to help with you or any of your members, as well as just being there and hearing your voices as it pertains to many of these bills flying around the legislature right now. We would really appreciate any ideas you have to make them better. Thank you.
Yeah, and what's the best, your email? Thank you so much for that. What's the best way to follow you, or also get updates on all those bills coming up, etc.?
Absolutely. You can email our public account, which is senator.gonzalez, that's Gonzalez, at senate.ca.gov. And we will be there to answer your questions and also be there to serve. So thanks again.
Great, thank you for sharing that. Once again, I would like to thank you. It was a great honor, Senator Lena Gonzalez, Senator of 33rd District, and congratulations on your 1-year anniversary today as a senator.
Oh, how nice. Thank you very much. Great.
Yeah, well, once again, thank you so much. That was a real pleasure. And as you mentioned, we're here to support. So please, whoever's watching, reach out to the Lena Gonzalez team, Trevor, and once again, good luck to you in your presidency. So we are there to support.
Thank you both very much. Thank you. Have a great weekend, and we look forward to talking again. Thank you.
Likewise. Thanks everybody for watching. Have a happy and safe Friday, and take care. Thanks everybody. Happy Friday. Thank you, Senator. That was great.